Hey guys, this is Andy. I'm continuing our wonderful read through the book of Genesis. Today we're reading through chapters 42 and 43. Joseph is now large and in charge. He's second in power only to the Pharaoh in Egypt, thanks to the blessings of God. Though you have to wonder, is God just lathering Joseph with gifts in order to trick the Jews into Egypt so they can all be slaves? After all, you can't free your own chosen people unless they're slaves. Moses wouldn't be Moses unless he cursed Egypt with flying frogs and killing all those kids. In chapter 42 and 43, we have Joseph pranking his brothers. They don't recognize him, but he sure does recognize the guys that threw him into a hole and threw him into slavery. Let's start reading. Joseph's brothers go to Egypt. When Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why don't you just keep looking at each other?" He continued, "I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us so that we may live and not die." Then 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with the others. So they were like complete brothers, same mother, same father. Their mother was Rachel. Because he was afraid that harm might come to him. So Israel's sons were among those who went to buy grain, for there was famine in the land of Canaan also. Now Joseph was the governor of the land, the people who sold grain to all the people. So when Joseph's brothers arrived, they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. As soon as Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. "Where do you come from?" he asked. You like that little acting thing I did? "Where do you come from?" he asked. "From the land of Canaan," they replied, "to buy food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Then he remembered his dreams about them and said to them, "You are spies. Spies. You have come to see where our land is unprotected." "No, my lord," they answered. "Your servants have come to buy food. We are all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not spies. We totally wouldn't throw people into holes and sell them into slavery." That's an aside, but you knew that. "No," he said to them, "you have come to see where our land is unprotected." But they replied, "Your servants were 12 brothers, the sons of one man who lives in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more." Joseph said to them, "It's just like I told you. You are spies, and this is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your number to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept in prison, so that your words may be tested to see if you are telling the truth. If you are not, then as surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." And he put them all in custody for 3 days. 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, "Do this, and you will live. For I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison, while the rest of you go and take grain back for your starving households. But you must bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words may be verified and that you may not die." This they proceeded to do. So they left one brother in Egypt. They said to one another, "Surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That's why this distress has come on us." It's karma. You throw someone into a pit, bad things will happen. Reuben replied, "Reuben, didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy? But you wouldn't listen. Now we must give an accounting for his blood." They did not realize that Joseph could understand them, since he was using an interpreter. Oh, that Joesph, he's so clever. He turned away from them and began to weep, but then came back and spoke to them again. He had Simeon taken from them and bound before their eyes. I guess Simeon's the guy who's staying in Egypt. Joesph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, to put each man's silver back in his sack. Oh, he's getting the money back. And to give them provisions for their journey. After this was done for them, they loaded the grain in their donkeys and left. At the place where they stopped for the night, one of them opened his sack of grain for his donkey. So they opened his fucking sack. I don't know why the Bible is so obtuse about this. They're staying for the night. He opened the sack that was on the donkey, and he saw silver in the mouth of his sack. "My silver has been returned," he said to his brothers. "Here it is in my sack." Their hearts sank, and they turned to each other trembling and said, "What is this that God has done to us?" Then they came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They told him all that had happened to him. They said, "The man who is Lord over the land spoke harshly to us. They hurt our feelings and treated us as though we were spying in the land. But we said to him, 'We are honest men. We are not spies. We were 12 brothers, sons of one father. One is no more, and the youngest now with our father in Canaan.' Then the man who is Lord over the land said to us, 'This is how I will know whether you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me, and take food for your starving households and go. But bring your youngest brother to me, so I will know that you are not spies, but honest men. Then I will give your brother back to you, and you can trade in the land.'" No tariffs. Maybe. I don't know if they're tariffs or not. As they were emptying their sacks, there in each man's sack was his pouch of silver. When they and their father saw the money pouches, they were frightened. Their father Jacob said to them, "You have deprived me of my children. Joesph is no more, and Simeon is no more." He just wrote off Simeon really fast. "And now you want to take Benjamin? Everything is against me." Then Reuben said to his father, "You may put both of my sons to death if I do not bring him back to you. Entrust him to my care, and I will bring him back." But Jacob said, "My son will not go down there with you." You can almost see Jacob dope slapping. "His brother is dead, and he is only one left. If harm comes to him on the journey you are taking, you will bring my gray head down to the grave in sorrow." The second journey to Egypt. This is chapter 43. Now the famine was still severe in the land. So when they had eaten all the grain they brought from Egypt, their father said to them, "Go back and buy us a little more food." I'd say if you're going to go down to all this trouble, you should get more than a little food. But Judah said to him, "The man warned us solemnly, 'You will not see my face again unless your brother is with you.' If you will send your brother along with us, we will go down and buy food for you. But if you do not send him, we will not go down, because the man said to us, 'You will not see my face again unless your brother is with you.'" It's like they just kind of gave up on Simeon. It's like, yeah, he's down there. He's a hostage. Who knows what's happening to him? Until they got hungry again. Israel asked, "Why did you bring this trouble on me and telling the man you had another brother?" Why didn't you just lie? Israel lied all the time. Look in the previous videos. They replied, "The man questioned us closely about ourselves and our family. 'Is your father still living?' he asked us. 'Do you have another brother?' We simply answered his questions. How were we to know he would say, 'Bring your brother down here'?" Then Judah said to Israel his father, "Send the boy along with me, and we will go at once, so that we and you and our children may live and not die. I myself will guarantee his safety." You can hold me personally responsible for him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him here before you, I will bear the blame before you all my life. As it is, if we had not delayed, we could have gone and returned twice. He makes a very strong case. Then their father Israel said to them, If it must be, then do this. Put some of the best products of the land in your bags and take them down to the man as a gift. A little balm, maybe a little honey, some spices and myrrh, some pistachio nuts and almonds. Take double the amount of silver with you, for you must return the silver that was put back into the mouths of your sacks. Perhaps it was a mistake. Take your brother also and go back to the man at once, and may God Almighty grant you mercy. You can feel the power before the man, so he will let your other brother and Benjamin come back with you. As for me, if I am bereaved, I am bereaved. Seems very comfortable with that. If it happens, it happens. It is what it is. So the men took the gifts and double the amount of silver, and Benjamin also. They hurried down to Egypt and presented themselves to Joesph. When Joesph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house, Take these men to my house, slaughter an animal, and prepare, you like my voice, and prepare a meal. They are to eat with me at noon. The men did as Joesph told him, and he took, let's remember that Joesph is the head slave in the land of slaves of Egypt. The man did as Joesph told him, and told the men to Joseph's house, and took the men to Joseph's house. Now the men were frightened, and they were taken to the house. They thought, We were brought here because of our silver that was put back into our sacks the first time. He wants to attack us and overpower us and seize us as slaves, and take our donkeys. So they went up to Joseph's steward and spoke to him at the entrance of the house. We beg your pardon, our lord, they said. We came down here the first time to buy food. But at the place where we stopped for the night, we opened our sacks, and each of us found his silver, the exact weight, in the mouth of the sack, not in the belly, not in the colon of the sack, but in the mouth of the sack. So we have brought it back with us. We have also brought additional silver with us to buy food. We don't know who put our silver in our sacks. It's all right, he said. Don't be bitches. No, it doesn't say that. Don't be afraid. Your God, the God of your father, has given you treasure in your sacks. I received your silver. Then he brought Simeon out to them. Simeon, thanks. I imagine Simeon was happy that they took so long to come back. The steward took the men into Joseph's house, gave them some water to wash their feet, and provided fodder for their donkeys. They prepared their gifts for Joseph's arrival at noon, because they had heard that they were there to eat. When Joesph came home, they presented to him the gifts they had brought from the house, and they bowed down before him to the ground. He asked them how they were, and they said, How? And then he said, this is Joesph speaking, How is your aged father you told me about? Is he still living? They replied, Your servant, our father, is still alive and well. And they bowed down, prostrating themselves before him. Prostrating. And he looked about and saw his brother Benjamin, his own mother's son. He asked, Is this your youngest brother, the one you told me about? And he said, God be gracious to you, my son. Deeply moved at the sight of his brother, Joesph hurried out and looked for a place to weep. There's a lot of weeping here. He went to his private room and wept there. After he had washed his face, he came out, controlling himself. He said, Serve the food. They served him by himself, the brothers by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate with him by themselves, because Egyptians could not eat with Hebrews, for that was detestable to Egyptians. Maybe they had really bad table manners, I don't know. The men had been seated before him in the order of their ages, from the firstborn to the youngest, and they looked at each other with astonishment. When portions were served to them from Joseph's table, Benjamin's portion was 5 times as much as anyone's else. Bam! Just like that. So they feasted and drank freely with him. I wonder if they're going to put Benjamin into a pit. All right, so that was Genesis chapter 42 and 43. Joseph plays pranks on everybody. Thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. And if you want to throw a few shekels into the Patreon jar, the link is somewhere below. Godless bless. Bye. Take care. Enjoy whatever you're doing. Hopefully you're not doing anything too horribly. Maybe you are.